What's up, magical people? Welcome back to Your Most Magical Life. I am Mia Magic. We've got the kitty girl right here with us again. This video is all about the year of the serpent, the significance, the mythology, and what it means for all of us, what the invitations are for us moving forward into this year. If you would like to join me for a Year of the Serpent ritual on February 1st at 10 a.m. PST, I would absolutely love to see you. It's going to be such a great way for us all to connect together right after the Lunar New Year, which is the Aquarius new moon, and really step into this energy together. Start this actual new year, right? This is where the new year would have begun in many of our ancient traditions. That's why it is the Chinese New Year, is because it's lunar rather than a Gregorian, which is a totally nonsensical type of calendar that has nothing to do with anything cosmological. Neither here nor there. We're not going to get into that in this video. That's for another video. But this is the actual new year. This is the moon that controls the tides in our world, the waters, the emotions, the blood of the feminine. This is the renewing, the beginning of the cycle. And I am offering an absolutely spectacular, incredible Year of the Serpent program that is a ritual series with 3 beautiful rituals, a Kundalini breathwork and energy practice for you to really support yourself into stepping into this incredible, magical year the best that you can. Grounded, resourced, knowing who you are, and understanding what the skin is that you need to shed in order to rise into the version of yourself that you desire to be, who can be most of service to our planet and what this world needs desperately right now. So the serpent, I'm sure you're all aware of how many stories we have throughout history, specifically one, right? That the serpent tempts Eve, taunts her with the idea of eating from the tree of wisdom, and how evil the serpent is in its desire to do that, to corrupt the purity of Eve made from Adam's rib. So we're not going to get into all the ways that the Bible doesn't make sense and why it's all allegorical and metaphorical rather than actual truth. Again, another video, but the invitation with the serpent is to be adaptable. So many of you know, I live in Los Angeles, or I did until these fires, and I've moved out of my house completely. I didn't even go back there. I haven't been back since the fires. And so even though LA is just one city, it's one place, this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of something so much bigger than any of us can actually conceive of. And it is asking us to shed the skins, the versions of ourselves that hide, that play small, right? That's the snake literally has to crawl out of that skin because it doesn't fit anymore. And if you find a whole snake skin, which I have found before, it's even the eyelids, everything. It's how you see. It's how you perceive the world. It's the kind of box that you fit into or that you put yourself into. It all has to go. It has to die. It has to fall away. And so the invitation of the serpent, when you look back and why they made it a serpent and why they made snakes bad, and it's the same with spiders, right? In indigenous First Nations people and communities of the Americas in particular, they have grandmother spider. That's why dream catchers look like spider webs, because the spider is weaving her own web all the time. And so it's about, how are we weaving our web? How do we create our home, create our reality, create our perception and perspective of the world? And so snakes, serpents, have been villainized, demonized, but they have long always been associated with the rising Kundalini energy in our spines, in our bodies. So when you go back to ancient Egypt, the Ka body is said to be like our spiritual body. It's like our energetic body, but it's beyond our energy, right? That is our beating heart and the heat and the warmth inside of us. And it's about the combination of our energy and our spirit, our soul, having a more expanded body. And so the ancient Egyptian traditions were working with that Ka body, and the serpent was this shape of the energy. It was this practice, this way of working with how you could get that energy to rise inside of your body. It was often, if some of you have read the Magdalene manuscripts, it was often a black and gold serpent, a white and red serpent, a black and white serpent, many different colors depending on the tradition that you're looking into. But The masculine and feminine, serpents rising. Even you see in our symbol for medicine, the caduceus, the two serpents rising and meeting with the angel wings on top. That is an ancient alchemical symbol. So then, if you know the story of St. Patrick in Ireland, he was said to have driven the snakes out of Ireland. Ireland is an island. There are no snakes there. There never have been snakes in Ireland. They're not indigenous. They're not native. Snakes were a euphemism or a term for the Druids, for the people who were using the earth energy, because what do we know about snakes, right? They're on the ground. They are connected to the earth in every single way. Every part of them is connected to the earth. And at the same time, they can climb trees, they can swim, they can lift that front part of themselves up to strike or to see somewhere where they're going with no limbs, with no arms and no legs. That is incredible. They are just one solid muscle. And muscles are representative of where earth and water meet. So where the physical body, the physical reality connects with the emotional reality, the creative reality, the sexual and sensual nature of our existence. And so the snakes that St. Patrick drove out of Ireland were the people who were connected to earth, who had adapted over and over again throughout time, which all indigenous people did, and which we all come from indigenous lineages, depending on how far back you go in your family line, in your ancestry. But that's who the snakes were that he drove out of Ireland, was the Druids and the people who were connected to earth and the true power, right? Because where do snakes get their power? Of course they eat, but like anybody who has a pet snake, they're like, oh yeah, I fed them last month. It's like, what? Last month? You know, they eat like once a month because they're cold-blooded. They are getting fueled from the sun. The true power, the real source of power. We see in the world right now, constantly, all the time, the false power, the illusion of power, the unbelievable, I can't believe we could even call them leadership, especially in California right now, but in general on earth. They're not leading us into anything except sickness and anyways, we're not going to get into that. But it's false power, our leadership. It's fear, it's greed, it's scarcity, it's unworthiness, it's competition. It's not collaboration and harmony and connection and synergy and abundance and care for the planet. And so that power that serpents have by being fueled by the sun, the true source of power, where like we could get all of our energy, everything could be powered by the sun. There's enough sunlight to power everything on earth. Little known fact. It's an infinite source of energy in terms of our lifetime, right? And yet the people who design things for free energy disappear. Poof. Oh, we don't know. He died mysteriously. It's been happening for hundreds of years so that we stay in the capitalist system. And that is a huge part of what this year of the serpent is asking of us. And you guys, last night, literally as I was about to prepare to film this video, I found a snake in my house. Well, technically the cat found a snake in the house. A little tiny snake, a non-venomous snake, but a little brown snake. And it was a baby snake, and I picked it up and I put it outside, but I kind of like tossed it because even part of in me, it's like, ooh, like you have that fear. And I didn't know if it was venomous, so I was not sure. I looked it up after. It wasn't, but I didn't know if it was. And you know, it's like baby snakes are supposed to be more venomous. So I like kind of like tossed it out the door. And I felt so bad for like tossing it. And so I went out like a minute later and it was right where I'd left it. And I went out with my flashlight and I stroked it and I looked at it and I like gazed at its beautiful skin and apologized. I was like, I'm so sorry for tossing you. Like, that's just programming. You know, you're so beautiful and you're so amazing. And thank you. And it was moving in like slow motion. And then once I had apologized and thanked it and looked at it and connected with it, it literally just like really fast and went through a slat in the deck and dropped itself down. I heard it hit the ground. It just like plop. It was like, okay, well, it's fine. You know, they're so adaptable. They have that like singular muscular energy where they can fall, fly, swim, you know, maybe not fly, but you know what I mean? And it was incredibly potent. to have a snake showing up right here in front of me as I'm setting up to create all of this content. So the invitation is to connect with your divine feminine energy, connect with the version of you who's connected to the earth, connect with the part of you that has a skin to shed. We all do at all times. And for me, especially, right, like this, which those of you who watched this video before, my Today Show segment is out on January 29th. It's the 9 a.m. segment. I'm pretty sure, like 98% sure that's the plan as of now. So if you're watching this before January 29th, 2025, go watch me on the Today Show, please. Would love the support. Would love to see how you feel. I mean, I have no idea what they're going to make me look like. It could be horrible, but I'm sure it's going to be great. It was really fun to lead a rage ritual at the top of Rockefeller Center in the middle of New York City. It was great. And that happened right as the fires were bursting out in my home place. And so there is a version of me. There's a version of me pre-Today Show. There's a version of me pre-fire. And there's a version of me now who has been so focused on my community and building my career and doing all of the things that I want to be doing with my life that I didn't prioritize growing food and learning massive survival skills and buying a plot of land with water. And now I have to shed the version of me that is prioritizing anything else over that, because that has become my number one priority. So it's not always like something about you, some habit, some behavior, something that's wrong, some belief. It can be a version of yourself that's prioritizing other things. It can be a version of yourself that feels, and of course, like there are feelings and, like, oh, I feel unworthy of the kind of love that I actually really want, or I feel, too trapped in scarcity, right? Like it's anything. But this year, it is a requirement. It is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, necessary for us to shed the skins that have kept us small, that we've been trapped in, because we have to rise up, connected to the earth, and sourced from the true power, filled with real power. Because the only thing that is going to beat or win out over this false power is real power. That's it. The illusion, the grip is so strong. It's so steadfast that the only thing that will be able to break that spell is a real power. Love and trust and certainty and devotion and commitment. And so that's why I'm so excited about this Year of the Serpent program and of course this ritual and moving into this year, is because there is nothing more important for all of us than stepping into that power, than resourcing ourselves from what's true and what's real, what's actually going to move the needle. There's nothing more important. There's nothing you could watch on your phone that's more important than your meditation practice. There's nothing that you could do while scrolling that's more important than connecting with the divine in your way. Because we all need to be so full of that divine energy. We need to be so deeply steeped in our own awareness of our divinity and our godliness, because that's the only thing that is going to give us the courage that's necessary to face off with what's happening in this world. This year and this program is all about being able to alchemically release the old versions of yourself in order to adapt to any changing circumstance, situation, experience in your reality, in order to show up deeply grounded to the earth and in your spiritual gifts, in the infinite and eternal nature of the cyclical rhythms of the cosmos and life, and being able to understand your role in how this world is changing, in creating the new version that we actually desire to live in, and rise up into that hypnotic dance that we know so well, the snake charming dance. And so this program is all about utilizing all of the messages and the magic of the serpent, which of course has been turned completely against us. If you took my Year of the Dragon program, you know that so much has been changed, mistranslated, misrepresented, especially in terms of the feminine. The serpent is the rising kundalini within us. So we're going to be doing kundalini breath work and a lot of magical somatic practices that will help you to not only shed the old skins of the old patterns, the old limiting beliefs, anything that has kept you small, right? That skin that keeps you stuck or that potentially is sabotaging you, and letting it go in order to expand, in order to become the version of yourself that you desire to be, because that is what the world needs from us. And the Ouroboros is a mystical symbol in many traditions where it is the serpent or the dragon eating its tail. It represents eternity and how there can be no rebirth without death. So this is a beautiful invitation for all of us to step into the version of ourselves where that skin has been shed. We are being invited forward, but deeply connected to the earth, fueled by the true source of power, not the illusions of power, not the false power, matrix projection of what power is. So it's about connecting to the true powers and remaining always firmly planted on the earth. You can still rise up. You can still dance in your serpentine movement, but you're connected to the earth. And that is what she is asking of all of us, begging of all of us with all of these natural disasters that are occurring on our planet. The earth is crying out for us. Speak to me, hear me, listen to me, and let the magic of my power and my true source energy rise through you in order to be the version of yourself you are destined to be, and that society and humanity and our entire global community needs you to be in this moment. These fires in LA are just the beginning. And if you look back and, Maui and Asheville, but that was the beginning. But the fact that Asheville happened just a few months before the LA fires, it's just like, anyways, again, different video. Everyone gets to believe what they want to believe. I'm never going to force feed you any belief. Everything that I have to offer you is an invitation, is a recommendation, a suggestion. All I know is that this is a year for the divine feminine power to reawaken in a way that it has not before. Even the fact that I led a rage ritual, 30 Rock, in the middle of New York City for one of the largest mainstream media outlets ever is a testament to that. And we all have feminine energy. This is not about like gender. This is not about femme presenting people. This is not about genitalia. This is about all of us having feeling, sensual, emotional, healing powers, movement, intuition, creativity. We all have a feminine side, no matter where you exist on the gender spectrum. So it's about understanding how to empower that feminine energy to recreate the kind of world we want to live in. And serpents are, again, that's why the caduceus and the blending of them, because they are long known and associated with, yes, that rising feminine energy, but when they're straight, they're very phallic. It's literally like a giant cock, right? So they are so much about the balance, and that is who we all have an opportunity to be and become, is balanced beings. Let me allow the straightness of my spine, the pillar in me, the powerful masculine, the column standing strong. Let me be moved. Let me be filled with. Let me be in receivership of the profundity of the divine feminine within and all around. Because if we awaken that healing power and our intuition, the true connection to that voice inside of us, we would stop desecrating the planet. We would stop allowing people to harm us and our sacred Mother Earth, because it just would be so unnatural that they would feel it, which you know that they feel it. You know that the powers that be feel it. Like the same as if you have any physical health challenges, mental health challenges, emotional health challenges, I guarantee you, if you look at the way that you relate to nature, you will see a root cause. If you have a story that you like always have to buy things from Amazon, or you're using a lot of plastic, or you're wasting a lot of water, I promise you, you make a change in that area, you will see things change in the health of your mind, body, and soul. And that to me is the most important part about this year of the serpent. We have to shed the versions of ourselves that have been formed by the powers that be, that is false power. We have to shed the versions of ourselves that have created priorities that don't actually matter. They're like disempowered values versus real values. We all have our real, true values. And then we have false values. We think that status is important, or like the fancy cars or whatever it is. My sister and I were just talking this morning about how both of us have lived in massive homes. Some of y'all know I lived in this huge, like 7,000 square foot house that I moved out of when my partner and I broke up last June. And I was miserable in that house. And now I'm in this beautiful 2-bedroom cabin. And I was just in upstate New York in another little sweet wooden cabin with a fireplace. And I was so much happier. And if some of you have read the book Shantaram, which is a wonderful book, he talks about people's level of happiness being directly oppositely correlated to the size of their home. He said the people that I saw that lived in the slums, the people that were, 6 square feet of space with 12 people in it, they were so happy. And the billionaires living in these giant mansions, they were miserable because those people are generating resources that they'll never be able to spend in their entire lives by or through destruction of people and planet. That will never make you feel good. It doesn't matter what you do. Innately, as part of a collective consciousness, you will feel sick with yourself, or you will get sick, or you'll be sick of. And that's what we want to do away with. We want to burst through that skin. It's time to shed the old versions of ourselves that have been identified with what society thinks, what society's telling us, like that the serpent is evil, that Eve taking a bite of an apple, which an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apples help release heavy metals from your body. The apple, we could go into, the apple's a whole nother video. You cut the apple in half, not lengthwise, but widthwise, perfect pentagram, perfect 5-pointed star in it, representing the 5 elements. Apples are incredibly healthy for you. And the tree of wisdom. And the serpent knows that because the serpent is so connected to the earth, so adaptable, can manage to take care of itself, move itself, get itself wherever it wants to go, again, without arms or legs. So we have to see if like the things that we normally sort of attach to, that we think are extensions of ourselves, like our limbs, obviously we need our limbs, but if we didn't have those things, what would we do to adapt? And so that's the big question that I'm in right now is, okay, if I didn't have a grocery store, which y'all know, I shop at the farmer's market. I don't shop at grocery stores. But if I didn't have someone else growing and creating my food for me, what the fuck would I do? If I didn't have city water, because in my canyon in Topanga, they turned off the water. Oh, in a lot of places in LA, they turned off the water. They were like, we get to do whatever the fuck we want. We're turning off the water. I don't want to live somewhere where someone can turn off my water. And I'm shedding the version of myself that has been dependent upon or reliant upon leadership, a version of society that is not actually on my side. So that is the biggest piece. That's the biggest invitation for this year, because we have to become sovereign and autonomous. The only way that the leadership and the systems are going to change is if we opt out of them. And if we show them that we've actually remembered that as a populace, we vastly outnumber them by so much. Yes, do they have all the craziest weapons and frequency technology and like crazy shit that they could literally just kill all of us in a blink of an eye? Absolutely. But then what would they do? We can be the leaders. At least my country, America, was founded on the idea, a government of the people, for the people, by the people. That has changed. And it's time to change back. Change forward, really. And that's what the Year of the Serpent is asking of us. So if you would like to join me in the Year of the Serpent program and in our ritual on February 1st at 10 a.m. PST, I would absolutely love to have you. You can do them as a bundle as well. So we are going to dive super deep in this ritual series. Again, it's going to have Kundalini practices and shadow work and really beautiful, deep information on the serpent. And I'm really excited to have you all there. Thank you so much for always being with me on this journey, because I want to live in a different kind of world, y'all, and I can't do it alone. I need you. We need each other. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with anyone you think that would resonate with it. As always, I'm Mia Magic, and thank you for honoring me with the deep pleasure of welcoming you to your most magical life.